Hey class, we're going to be looking at a couple things in this group. We're going to be looking at just creating solids as opposed to paths, which we've been doing in the past. We're moving and transitioning into further work, which is really kind of an exciting time. This is where I see work from students kind of really jump into new, fascinating, and creative levels. You were probably like, but I just figured out the strokes, man. And now you're going to throw me down another corridor. Yes, we are. And it's only going to be cooler, easier, more fascinating, and a more efficient way, perhaps, to express yourself. It's also critical for everything that we're going to be doing down the path. So we're going to be looking at just strokes first, and then we'll jump into some other things like layer management and all kinds of nerdy things. First, though, what I want to do is this is something that came up with me while I was getting ready, and I've moved my tablet between different computers, and they never, it doesn't remember what my settings were, and I keep touching these little buttons. I've got, you can even see them. There they are. These buttons along the top. They're kind of cool, but I hate them. The way I work is I have my left hand on my keyboard and my right hand is hanging out with my stylus, getting ready to do all the cool stuff. So I just need to disable all of these buttons. So I opened up my settings panel for the computer operating system, and then I found my Wacom tablet stuff, which is down here. So I went there and I said, yo, okay, how about we just disable all of these buttons that drive me nuts? Because if my hand just touches them in the slightest bit of way, or my arm while I'm trying to work on my keyboard, nope, no thank you. So you can just disable all this stuff. Disable, 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 and we'll see if that's enough. I might have to work on the control spinning wheel thing, the scroll wheel as well, but that should do it. I'm hoping. All right, so I'm gonna also just talk about something else with Illustrator. This is good because you're gonna get into these things here eventually. May as well talk about it now. I'm gonna set up a document that is based off of my film and video presets, so it's gonna be in HD. It'll be 1280 by 1080 wide. Yeah, that all sounds good. But when I open it up, I'm facing this, artboard. Actually, there's a couple of them here. You just don't know. You're like, oh, this looks so foreign. I just want a simple white canvas to get started with. Really easy to go through here. Maybe you already know, but I'll go through it real quick. First of all, if I just want to see that nice white canvas, I'm going to go to View, Hide Transparency Grid. Bam. Okay, now that's gone. Second thing are all these guides. These are all guides that are meant for video work. So there's a video ruler. There's my center guides and crosshairs and my title safe. And those things are found under my Artboard tool. And I'm going to go to the Properties window and click on Artboard Properties. That opens up this guy. This guy has all of these display things. Show center mark, show crosshairs, show title safe. No, I don't want any of those. So then when I hit OK, they're gone. The only thing that's left now is the video rulers, which is again under View, Rulers, Hide Video Rulers, and they're gone. I don't need them. There's other ways I can manage centering and stuff like that. Plus title safe and text safe stuff is text safe and title safe. They're the same thing. Action safe. They're kind of, I don't know, obsolete anymore if you're doing motion graphics work. The last thing I have to do is consider the fact that when you do a video artboard, I'm going to zoom way out as far as I can. It gives me two artboards, and one of them is so giant. It's the maximum artboard size that anyone would ever want, and I don't want it. So I'm just going to select it with that artboard tool and hit delete. Now I'm back down to the one artboard. So it's a lot of prep work to get into. All right, that aside, let's talk about fills. So far we've been working with strokes. been working with the pencil tool and the pen tool. So I'm going to work with both of those today. The pencil tool I'll look at first. And, you know, it's always good to think about those pencil options. So I double clicked on the pencil tool and opened this up, and I've got my fidelity. Maybe I'll aim a little more towards smooth. And then there's some options here that are kind of important. Do you want to fill your new pencil strokes? Currently, yeah, because I'm talking about fill. So I want to make sure that that is selected. I can't remember what I mentioned about the pencil options previously in a video, but like, do you want to keep that path selected? Do you want to move on to another one? I really don't want to keep it selected right now because I want to keep doing more marks and I don't want to have to edit a selected path. So I can either choose to keep it selected or not, or I can turn off edit selected paths. I do like to edit selected paths sometimes, but I'll let that happen when I select them on my own. So I'm going to turn off keep selected, and then we'll move on. So now I'm ready to make a shape. Almost. I have to make sure that my brain is thinking about solids and not strokes. How do I do that? I use this little guy down here that says, hey, you got to fill or you got to stroke. Yes, I want to fill. No, I don't want to stroke. So I'm going to click on that stroke and it opens, or it brings it to the forefront and allows me to say, well, what do you want to do with it? I don't want it. So I'm going to click on that little red slash. It's gone. So now I have the lovely fill that I can focus on. So I click back on that. It becomes the foreground element. Let me show you what's happening here under the color palette. So when I click on stroke, it brings that information to the forefront of my color palette as well. Or if I click on the fill, it brings the fill to the forefront. So that also happens in a different area, which is this color palette. So now I can go and say, yeah, what color do I want? I'm going to pick some sort of blue, I suppose. I'm basically going to redo what I had done in an older version of this. Color, yeah, let's stash you over here. I might want you. There's also your swatches. This is handy too, right? Swatches are great. So we might use those. I will draw a like a wine glass. So I'm gonna start drawing. I'm gonna come over and make my stem and then my little foot, whatever it's called, come up. This is awful looking, but I'm gonna see what happens with my fidelity. Whatever, it's fine. So if I want to edit this, I'll get my direct selection tool and I can try to say, whoa, man, this keeps happening to me. Let's just move you over a little bit. Maybe you move you here. You're going to go up. I'm just looking at the symmetry of this thing, where my other points are on the other side. You're definitely going to need a curve. So I get my anchor point tool. While I'm doing that, I can hold down my space bar and get a nice little move on that thing. You're going to have to go this way a little bit, move you. You're in the middle. Ah, you're in the middle, so you should just be in the middle. And you don't need to be that long. Oh my God. I think I need to edit my preferences about the spacing of my points and how to select them. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish this up real quick here. You're like, yeah, I know you too well. You're gonna spend a lot of time with this. It's kind of my flaw. That's okay. I don't want you, so I'm gonna get my delete point tool, get rid of that, and I'll just make this slope a little longer, and then you're gonna have to notice how quickly I switch between my tools. It's pretty great to know shortcuts and have one hand on the keyboard the whole time. All right, that looks acceptable to me. It's a little wonky here. What does this one look like? It's a lot longer, so we'll make that a little longer. You're a little higher, you're a little angled. Let's just move you like that. And okay, I'm just gonna take all of that and just move it over a little bit. Boink. Cool. All right, hey, you got to see me work a little bit. I have a shape that is a solid made of a fill, right? There are no strokes. How do I know? Because I keep my eye on this thing and I know that there are no strokes there. Now I'm gonna do the same thing with the pen tool. So I'm gonna go grab my pen and just try to create the same thing. I could do it over that one. No, I'll just do it over here. It's fine. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Come down over here and then slide over there and give ourselves a little bit of that. And I'll put one in the middle just for safe keeping. I'm sort of thinking about placement of the other points so that I have something similar in fashion. This is going to be a little bit of a skinnier glass, looks like. I can fix that if I want to. Maybe I don't need to. All right, so doing it with the pen, you know, maybe takes a little bit longer. It wasn't that much longer, but I have a little more control over the curves where I might not have to go back and edit so much of it. I don't know. I can live with it. I might just select these little guys and move them over a little bit, but that doesn't, no, now I want to do this. You're like, are we talking about just fills right now and not paths? Yeah, basically. I should just not have touched it. That's what I'm gonna say. Whoops. Just should not have touched it. But I did. All right. I can live with it. Cool. It's another fill that has no stroke. I'm looking over it, right? So at this point, I could start to elaborate on these forms and develop some sense of shape that has a more three-dimensionality. Think about lighting, think about shading, think about reflections or whatnot. At which point, it's a matter of picking the tool you want. Maybe I'll go back to the pencil and then working with, you know, other colors. So maybe I'll get, what should I do? How about a deeper blue, purple thing, and I'll kind of throw down a little bit of a shadow. Boink. Maybe there's a little thing here, but maybe there's a little opposite side because glass and reflective things kind of do that. Maybe this one kind of has a little bit of that going on. So already you can see that the work with the fills is going to be a little bit more dynamic than just what we were doing with the strokes. And then I can go get some sort of like reflective grays, oh, that was not good. Little something, you know, here along the rim, little dots kind of deals. Maybe, you know, this sort of stuff could come down the stem. I could zoom in. This is something that I think a lot of new illustrators kind of forget about, is that you could just go and come in nice and tight. Ooh, that's sloppy. So let's select it and go like that, fix it. But I zoomed in and now I can kind of come in on a few little details that are a lot easier to do. I could even get in closer and put in those little guys. I'll have like two little dots here, boom, and then maybe a little thing here. I'm not looking at anything. This is all just freestyling. So don't consider my work as a still life because I'm not actually studying anything. Otherwise, that'd be like kind of cutting the corners. So fills, right away, you're working with them and they're starting to occupy that space. There's not a stroke anywhere, but this object is really starting to come into a new form and have a lot of energy and a lot of cool excitement. No reason to stay with a fixed color palette. Who's stopping me from bringing in a little bit of orange here and there, you know, because it's probably picking up some color from things around the room. And that's going to come over here, and a little bit of that, right? So, or you can just break reality and have it be something else. So that's just a quick run through of managing and understanding the difference between a stroke and a solid, and how to work with solids and how to think about them as elements. We're going to look a little bit further into them when we get into layers, where we can think about layer hierarchy, organization, and then get into, ways that these can work with each other. All right. Hey, thanks a lot, and see you in the next one.